Hi, this is Brendan from Watto Training, and in this tutorial we look at 5 common crash types and how to avoid them. This is a trainer tutorial from Brendan at Watto Training RTO 40791. Driver trainers want to be able to deliver their training and get home safely at the end of the day. There are certain types of crashes that commonly occur in the road environment, and we need to be mindful of them. We also need to educate our students about the settings, conditions, and causes of these common crash types, and strategies to manage them safely. As trainers, we aim to keep ourselves, our student, and other road users safe, as well as our vehicle and other property. If we impart the strategies for avoiding these 5 crash types to our students, we are giving them a value add beyond a successful pass of a driving test. Overview: the 5 common types of crashes. Type number 1, rear end crash or rear end collision. Type 2, side on crashes. Crash type 3, head on crashes. Crash type 4, off path straight crashes. And crash type 5, crashes on curves and bends. General strategies to minimize risk of a crash. A hazard can be any possible source of danger on or near the road that could lead to a crash, and it can come from any direction. It could be a child chasing a ball onto the road, parked car door opening, vehicle merging into your lane, or stopping suddenly in front of you, slippery road surface after rain. Trainers should teach learners to apply the concept of a driving plan. A driving plan will assist a learner to anticipate hazards, order hazards in importance, decide what action to take. Assessing the risk means working out how likely it is that a hazard will harm someone and how serious the harm could be. Whenever a driver spots a hazard, they need to assess the risk by asking 2 questions. 1. How likely is it that the hazard could harm them or someone else? And 2. How badly could they or someone else be harmed? A driver who aims to have the best possible view around their vehicle at all times lowers their crash risk. This can be achieved only by ensuring the windscreen is clean, wipers are in good working order, and the mirrors are properly adjusted. Drivers should endeavour to drive a vehicle with a high ANCAP rating. Vehicles are awarded an ANCAP safety rating of between 0 and 5 stars, indicating the level of safety they provide in the event of a crash and their ability to avoid or minimize the effects of a crash. The more stars, the better the vehicle performed across ANCAP tests. Make sure your seat, steering wheel, and mirrors are correctly adjusted to give you not only comfort but safety in the vehicle and maximum vision. If a driver's car gets bumped from behind, the driver's head naturally extends backward before being thrown forward. Remember from schooling days, Newton's laws of motion. If the driver's head is unsupported, the neck bends too far backward, resulting in what is known as a whiplash injury. Seatbelts can help save lives. They are important safety features that, like airbags, help to protect a driver or passenger in a collision and minimize injuries. Those who do not wear their seatbelts while in the vehicle put themselves at greater risk of severe injury or even death. If a passenger rides with their feet on the dash and they're involved in a crash, the airbag may send their knees through their eye sockets. Being a safe driver means being both physically and mentally prepared to drive. Being well rested, alert, and attentive enables you to respond quickly when other drivers do not make that choice. Take a break if you have difficulty focusing. Remember, remain calm. Don't let your temper or frustration cause you to act recklessly. When people are behind the wheel of a vehicle of any sort, it's important that they focus their full attention on the road. This means drivers need to limit both internal, e.g. loud music, and external distractions such as billboard advertising. Using a mobile phone while driving impairs a driver's driving performance through distraction and increases the risk of crashing. The most common types of crashes associated with mobile usage are run off the road, crashes, and rear-end crashes. Many crashes can be prevented if drivers behave courteously to other road users. Drivers share the road with road users of various ages and skill levels. Drivers also share the road with pedestrians, cyclists, motorcyclists, and vehicles of varying size. Be aware of special needs and limitations of other drivers and roadway users. A driver must be in good physical and mental condition before driving. Don't drive with a learner if they have been drinking alcohol, are taking any medicine or drug that adversely affects their safe responses, are tired as tiredness affects their driving skills and reaction time, are sick or injured, are angry or upset. You could be risking your life or lives of others on the road. Observation and scanning techniques. Scanning means a driver takes in the whole scene 360 degrees around their vehicle. Make sure you monitor the road environment in all directions, commonly known as the 6-point checks. Effective scanning means a driver constantly moves their eyes and/or their head while driving so that they can detect hazards that may arise ahead, to the sides and behind their vehicle. Use your central and peripheral vision. Central vision is when our eyes focus straight ahead, allowing us to drive, read, and see details sharply. Central vision only covers about 3 degrees of our visual field, but it allows us to make very important judgments like estimating distance and understanding details in the path ahead. Peripheral vision, or side vision, is the ability to look directly ahead at an object and see other vehicles off to the sides or other objects off to the sides. This full field of vision should be approximately 140 degrees, 70 degrees on either side. The scanning routine is as follows. Scan up 12 seconds ahead. Check your mirrors in general every 8 to 10 seconds, and check your blind spots with a head check before you turn or diverge. Heavy vehicle instructors promote an additional mirror check for the heavy vehicle drivers. Question: what if I can't see 12 seconds ahead? The less seconds you can see ahead, the more you need to slow down. Trainers need to teach learners this simple technique so it becomes a standard response. This creates time and space to take evasive action. It also lowers the chances of a driver in, for example, a heavy vehicle of having a rollover around a blind corner. To anticipate is to take action when you expect something will or might happen, or rather, when a road hazard will cause you to slow down, change direction, or stop. The way you anticipate what might happen is to make early use of all the information available to you. Let's take a look at the broken down truck. Scanning ahead gives a driver a chance to anticipate hazards in advance. For example, the truck in the picture. The earlier a driver identifies a potential hazard, the more time they will have to respond. Scanning far enough ahead may mean looking through the windows of vehicles ahead in the traffic to see what is happening. By doing this, a driver will know in advance if a vehicle ahead is braking, as they will see the brake lights come on several cars ahead. This gives a driver more time to respond. The key here is to not just look at the vehicle immediately in front. On multi-lane roads, notice the space between the tires of the vehicle in front of you and the lane markings nearest the tire. If the gap starts to narrow, it could mean the driver is drifting or about to change lanes. Watch for a driver's indicators or signaling. Occasionally, drivers will leave their indicators on by accident. Occasionally, drivers indicate incorrectly. Occasionally, drivers don't use their indicators at all when they should be using them. Look at other drivers' head movements. If another driver's eyes are down, they might be looking at their mobile phone or texting. Be careful. If their eyes are on the road and their head is moving, you can be more confident that they are actually paying attention and engaged in the driving task. Whatever the case, don't assume. There's a quote which says, "Assumption is the mother of all failures." Looking ahead also means scanning from side to side for hazards on the roadside or at intersections. Watch for movement well back from the intersection on side roads and at cross streets, so that you can act defensively if necessary. Hazards may be parked cars, cyclists, or pedestrians. Covering the brake means bringing your foot off the accelerator and over the brake, but not braking. Watch for pedestrians, runners, and other people on bicycles, and expect anything. Mirror checks. Unless a driver checks their mirrors, they won't know if someone is doing something such as trying to overtake or if there is a police car or ambulance coming up quickly. Check your rear view mirror. Watch in the rear view mirror for drivers behind you who might want to pass. Frequent checks will help you see someone pulling into the opposing lane. You will be aware of them even if they pull into your blind spot. If the driver needs to turn or diverge right or left, they need to know what is in their blind spots. Head checks enable a driver to check their blind spots. Road positioning. Position your vehicle to maximize the distance from hazards, referred to as buffering. For example, moving to the left at the crest of a hill to create space from oncoming vehicles, or moving away from parked cars to avoid pedestrians and doors opening. Check your mirrors before making any lane change to your speed or position. Limit point. The limit point is the furthest point which you can see, i.e., where the left and right hand sides of the road meet. To use this technique, first make sure that you can stop before you get to it, and then simply ask yourself, is it getting further away? If it is, you can see further ahead, then your speed should be okay. On the other hand, if it is getting closer, then you could continue to reduce speed until the limit point begins to move with you and your view opens up again. Leave yourself an out. When driving, always have a plan of escape should the traffic conditions quickly change. If a vehicle is tailgating, leave more space in front of your vehicle as this reduces your braking requirements. Be seen. Don't position yourself in other drivers' blind spots, especially heavy vehicles. Get eye contact with other drivers. Position yourself carefully at crossroads and T-sections to minimize blockouts. Managing speed and space. Speeding is one of the major causes of fatalities on the road. Speeding is defined as driving over the posted speed limit or at a speed that is inappropriate given the driving conditions. For example, rain, fog, traffic volume, and traffic flow. Most people think that speeding is just driving over the speed limit. Speeding is also driving at a speed that is inappropriate for the driving conditions. Driving within the speed limit maximizes a driver's stopping distance, giving them more time to react to the actions of other road users around you, like vehicles, pedestrians, and cyclists, and changes to the road environment itself, such as potholes and obstacles. A space cushion is a buffer around your vehicle that you maintain to allow room to maneuver if necessary. Know what is in your space cushion, scan frequently, and maintain awareness of other vehicles. Crash avoidance space. A safe, low-risk driver maintains a crash avoidance space completely around the vehicle. The crash avoidance space is managed by adjusting the vehicle's speed and road position. To determine the crash avoidance space to the front of the vehicle, you need to take into account two key factors: reaction time and response time. Reaction time is the time the driver needs to see the information, perceive what it means, decide on a response, and to instigate that response. Response time is the time required to take action. Generally, a minimum of 1.5 seconds is needed to respond. In many situations, braking may be the only possible response. Swerving is rarely appropriate and can result in a more severe crash, for example, a head-on. You must drive a safe distance behind a vehicle traveling in front of you. Following another vehicle too closely is known as tailgating. If you tailgate, you may not be able to stop safely in time to avoid a collision. Safe following distances vary depending on your speed, the driving conditions, the type of vehicle you're driving. To estimate a 3-second gap, count 0 1000, 2 2000, 3 3000 when you see the vehicle in front pass an object like a tree or telephone pole. If you pass the object before you finish counting, you are too close. Remember to also double your following distance in poor conditions, increase following distances if you're driving a heavy vehicle. Side note, Queensland, the minimum safety gap for cars is 2 seconds. However, as a driver trainer, we're recommending 3. Giving way. Give way means to slow down and if necessary stop in order to prevent a crash from happening. You must always give way at a give way sign and check if it's safe to continue. Give way signs are placed at intersections and other places where other vehicles have priority. Remember, there are lots of situations on the road where you must give way even if there is no sign. Giving way at intersections. Slow down, stop if necessary, and give way as required by the give way rules, including if you turn at the intersection, you must give way to pedestrians crossing the road you are entering. Traffic lights. Let's take a look at the example on the left. Red light, straight ahead, and right. All red. Red circle and red right turning arrow signaling the traffic in the lane to stop. Traffic must stop and they are not to proceed through the intersection. Yellow lights. The yellow light is the beginning of the red light phase, not the end of the green light phase. You must stop on a yellow light unless it is unsafe to do so. If it is unsafe to stop, for example, if you are very close to the light when it changes from green to yellow, you may proceed through the yellow light. Green circle and right turning arrow. Signaling to the traffic in that lane to proceed driving forward through the intersection if safe to do so. Identify and respond safely to road signs. Regulatory signs inform you of traffic laws and regulations. They tell you what you, as a road user, must do by law in different situations. Regulatory signs come in 4 distinct shapes: octagons, rectangles, circles, and triangles. Warning signs. Warning signs let you know that road changes are coming up on your drive. These can be permanent or temporary traffic hazards and obstacles. Warning signs can warn you about merging lanes or added lanes, narrowing of the road, corners or changes in the direction of the road, highway and motorway entry and exits, crossings on the road for pedestrians, farm animals or wildlife, roundabouts stops or gives ways, changes to the road's surface or condition, for example, road humps, unsealed roads, rain, hail or ice, or falling rocks. Apply the system of vehicle control. The system originated from the Hendon, UK Police Academy in 1936 and is still regarded by many as the most effective system for modern drivers. The system provides the driver with a predictable routine which can be applied in sequence on the approach to any hazard. By correct application of the system, the vehicle will always be in the right place on the road, travelling at the right speed, and the right gear engaged. The system of vehicle control has 6 basic steps. Number 1, plan. Observe the hazard and decide the correct course. In this case, a right turn. 2, mirrors. Check for following or overtaking traffic. 3, signal. Signal your intention to other road users, in this case, a right indicator. 4, speed and position. Reduce speed to a safe rate of approach and arrival at the hazard. 5, gears and mirrors. Select appropriate gear to clear the hazard without a further gear change. Check mirrors again before entering the hazard zone. 6, evasive action and accelerate. Give way if necessary, then when safe proceed to right and accelerate smoothly. Using the system of vehicle control is applicable also at crossroads. We can see here an example of turning left and right. If you want to go through those details, feel free to pause the slide at this point to read through. Using the system of vehicle control for judging traffic lights. Step 1, course. Step 2, mirror, center only. 3, cover the brakes. Has the light changed? Yes, stop. No, continue. 4, gears, mirror checks, yes or no. 5, evasive action, check right and left. 6, accelerate and maintain speed. All of those responses will be impacted by the speed zone that a driver is in. Is the light green, orange, or red, and how long has that occurred for? Are there pedestrians around, etc.? So there are a lot of other factors to take into account with traffic lights. Applying strategies to the 5 common crash types. Okay, for crash type number 1, rear end collisions. Car A, the instructor needs to focus the learner's attention on the road environment, observe and scan, recognize and respond. For example, car B, does it have brake lights on or a right indicator? Excuse me. Manage space, do not tailgate, slow down and stop. Car B, the instructor would be focusing the attention of the driver on the road environment, observing and scanning, applying the system of vehicle control, managing speed, space and position, and giving way. Crash type number 2, for side-on crashes. Car A, the instructor would be promoting the driver to focus attention on the road environment, observe and scan, and apply the system of vehicle control. Again, an instructor in a vehicle with car B would be encouraging the learner to focus their attention on the road environment, observe and scan, and apply the system of vehicle control. Crash type number 3, the head-on crash. The key principles here from a driver trainer to a learner would be, for both drivers, recognize the risk. Center lines and median strips don't stop vehicles crossing to your side of the road. Buffer from oncoming traffic. Move left on crests and curves when you can't see oncoming traffic. Use the left lane where possible in multi-lane scenarios, and be aware of vehicles waiting to turn across your path. Be very careful when you perform U-turns, as danger can come from many directions. Crash type 4, off-path straight crashes. Key instructional points: stay focused, manage driver fatigue, don't drink and drive, avoid distractions such as using a mobile phone, changing music, and eating and drinking. Avoid dawn or dusk in country areas when wildlife is most active. Crash type 5, crashes on curves and bends. Avoid distractions, stay focused, manage driver fatigue, don't drink and drive, scan for warning signs and regulatory signs, apply the system of vehicle control. Trainer interventions to avoid a collision. There are 5 common types of intervention. Number 1, voice, for example, stop. 2, dual controls. 3, gears for a manual. 4, handbrake. And 5, grabbing the steering wheel. Reasons for intervening. A driver trainer may need to intervene either verbally or physically to prevent an accident, more commonly known as a crash, to prevent a dangerous situation occurring, for example, inadequate vehicle control that could compromise safety. A collision is defined as a situation where the training vehicle strikes another object, for example, vehicle, power pole, or pedestrian, resulting in potential or actual damage or injury. Mounting the curb with one or more wheels is considered a collision on a Q-safe driving assessment. A driver trainer may need to intervene if the learner creates a dangerous situation, either action or inaction, that results in another road user, including pedestrian, being forced to take evasive action to prevent a collision or any other danger. A driver trainer may need to intervene if a learner driver disobeys an official direction by a police officer, a school crossing supervisor, or an authorized traffic controller. Examples of interventions a driver trainer for C-Class may have to make during a training session. Accelerator. Learner operates the accelerator pedal throttle in a manner that compromises safety. Trainer intervention, voice, dual controls, brake. Stalling. Learner stalls engine in a situation that causes obstruction to traffic or contributes to a dangerous situation. Trainer intervention, voice, dual controls, clutch, accelerator. Gears. Learner driver demonstrates a serious lack of knowledge and ability to change gears appropriately for the speed, vehicle, and driving conditions. Trainer interventions, voice, dual controls, clutch, and accelerator. Road position. Learner driver drives with 1/3 or more of the vehicle unnecessarily on the incorrect side of the road. Trainer intervention, voice, steering, dual controls, brake. Road position. Learner driver takes an inappropriate course while traveling straight ahead through a multi-lane intersection. Trainer intervention, voice, steering, dual controls, brake. Hills. Learner driver rolls on a grade where safety is compromised. Trainer intervention, voice, dual controls, clutch, accelerator, brake/handbrake. Turning. Learner driver drives with 1/3 or more of the vehicle unnecessarily on the incorrect side of the road in any turning situation. Trainer intervention, voice, steering, dual controls, brake. Turning. Learner driver turns from or through an incorrect or non-allocated marked lane. Trainer intervention, voice, steering, dual controls, brake. Turning. Learner driver turns from or through an incorrect or non-allocated marked lane, including turning right at a roundabout from the left lane. Trainer intervention, voice, steering, dual controls, brake. Turning. Learner driver drives with 1/3 or more of the vehicle unnecessarily on the correct side of the road in any turning situation. Trainer intervention, voice, steering, dual controls, brake. Scanning. Learner driver fails to scan and observe when making a lane change. Trainer intervention, voice, steering, dual controls, brake. Observation and scanning. Learner driver diverts eyes from the direction of travel, including conducting the blind spot check in a manner that compromises the safety of the driving task. For example, when driving in a forward direction, stares over the shoulder for a prolonged period, or looks back as a substitute for using the mirrors. Trainer intervention, voice, steering, dual controls, brake. Observation and scanning. Learner driver fails to scan and observe at an intersection or level crossing with a control, for example, give way or stop sign. Trainer intervention, voice, dual controls, brake. Signaling. Learner driver signals incorrectly, for example, put on too early or is left on, and causes a dangerous situation. Trainer intervention, voice, steering, dual controls, brake. Learner causes obstruction. Learner driver enters a choked intersection, causing obstruction to other vehicles, trains, and or pedestrians. Trainer intervention, voice, dual controls, brake. Learner driver causes obstruction. Learner driver enters or attempts to enter a level crossing, causing obstruction to other vehicles, trains, and or pedestrians. Trainer intervention, voice, steering, dual controls, brake. Traffic lights. After moving into the intersection on a green light waiting to turn right, the learner driver fails to leave the intersection when the lights turn yellow or red. Trainer intervention, voice, steering, dual controls, accelerator, clutch. Giving way. Learner driver fails to give way to vehicles and other road users, including emergency vehicles, cyclists, pedestrians, horses at the direction of the person in charge, escorted vehicles. Intervention, voice, steering, dual controls, brake, more steering. Giving way. Learner driver fails to give way to a bus pulling out and displaying the regulatory give way sign. I apologize, there's no sign on that one. Trainer intervention, voice, steering, dual controls, brake, and steering. Following distance. The learner driver follows other traffic with 1 second or less following distance, or in adverse conditions less than 2 seconds. Trainer intervention, voice, steering, dual controls, brake. Managing space. Learner fails to maintain a safe distance when in close proximity to stationary vehicles or moving vehicles, including bicycles. Roadside obstacles, pedestrians walking on a road or road-related area or in a shared zone. Trainer intervention, voice, steering, dual controls, brake. Speed. Learner driver drives in excess of the speed limit. Trainer intervention, voice, dual controls, apply brake. Speed. Learner driver drives excessively slowly for the situation where the road, vehicle and/or traffic conditions do not require it. Trainer intervention, voice, dual controls, accelerator. Speed. Learner driver increases speed while being overtaken. Trainer intervention, voice, dual controls, brake. Progress, aka drive to the conditions. Learner driver drives too fast for the situation, for example, adverse weather conditions or approaching a pedestrian children's crossing, and compromises safety, including reverse. Trainer intervention, voice, steering, dual controls, brake. Road signs, traffic signals, road markings. Learner driver disobeys any regulatory road sign, traffic signal or road marking, including standing in a line of traffic over a keep clear road marking, driving onto a railway crossing while the red lights are still flashing, disobeying an illuminated red flashing diagonal cross situated on an overhead lane control device, drives unnecessarily to the right of two continuous parallel dividing lines. Trainer intervention, voice, steering, dual controls, brake. Steering. Learner driver loses control of the steering. Trainer intervention, voice, steering, dual controls, brake. So these are just some of the interventions that an instructor could possibly make when a learner driver negotiates those 5 different types of common crashes. Thank you for watching. This has been Brendan from Watto Training. For more tips and strategies for driver trainers, please continue to subscribe and tune in to the Watto Training YouTube channel.